today we need to get into Chris Martin potentially having a reaction that Jin might be coming home from the military. We also have people thinking that Jin might have a reaction to 17's Exemption. And we also have people saying that what has happened to Jin is unfair. So you don't need to say if decide hate it or not, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell on. Make sure you join us Fangoing on Patreon with some free content on Saturdays now, and let's go. Now, these topics I'm very passionate about. I think there's a lot to go over here, and if you're unaware, Jin recorded a bunch of pre-recorded videos before he went to the military. So a lot of that stuff was set to release at special occasions, whether that was Valentine's Day or whatever it was. These were short 1 minute, maybe 2 minute videos that were talking about his feelings, and he released one recently. He said that he was coming to an end for his videos and that he will be able to see everyone very soon. This, of course, implied that he was coming home soon, and a lot of people got very excited. There's only 1 month left of his enlistment, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think there's much time left. And people are excited about what he's going to do when he comes back, and if he's going to have like one more video before he fully comes back, if that makes sense. And since everyone talked about the conversation of military enlistment and what BTS members had to go through, and these are all things that are being brought into conversation. If you're not aware or maybe forgot, a little while ago, right before BTS enlisted, people gave them a lot of flack because people thought that the members would not enlist. So there was a lot of controversy around this, and a lot of people who are not BTS supporters, and maybe not supporters of K-pop in general. And then maybe the older audience were more so pushing BTS to enlist, more so saying that that's what good citizens of Korea do, and that the BTS members should do that as well. Of course, that answer doesn't take into consideration a lot of the things that they have contributed to the country, and by enlisting, they're actually contributing much less to the country than if they were to keep working and contribute that money back into the Korean economy. That part has always confused me, because what would be the point of having BTS members enlist when a war breaks out? It's not like the BTS members would actually fight in that war, or at least I would hope not. It's not like they're missing 7 people and the military can't function without 7 people. They can easily find 7 other people who are maybe more willing to do it. Now, the part that probably pushed the government to not act on this law fast enough to make sure that BTS doesn't enlist, it probably was more due to agenda. It was probably more due to propaganda stuff. They were probably hoping that by having the BTS members enlist, it would encourage and push other people to enlist, or it would make people aware of the military and bring the Korean military into the spotlight. I don't know what they're thinking. Now, because of the controversy and people having a split decision or idea about this, there was a lot of backlash that was thrown around to Jin. A footage came out where BTS was doing a press conference and they were asking about the military, and the prime focus of what seemed to be all of the reporters asking was towards Jin. They were questioning very much about what his decisions were going to be about and when he was going to enlist. Now, I don't know about most people, but to me, a military situation in enlisting should be between the person that's potentially enlisting and the government. It should not really be a public thing. And so I don't know why it suddenly became this thing where everyone wanted to know when they would enlist, like if and when they go. Everyone would know. It's not like it wouldn't be news. So of course, a lot of people in the community are very excited that Jin might be coming home soon, because they feel like the whole situation, even right from the beginning, was a bit unfair and maybe a little bit rigged to disfavor BTS. Now, because he might be coming home soon, some people were saying what other people's reactions would be to Jin coming home soon. And specifically people in the industry, if you're not aware. Jin did a collaboration with Coldplay before he left, and since then, Chris Martin has brought up Jin's name a couple of times during concerts and that sort of stuff. Chris has also referenced Jin in concerts before, and people feel like Chris and Jin are extremely close and love each other. Chris has also given Jin his guitar, I think, so they clearly like each other. A lot of people think that Chris would have a party or would celebrate when Jin comes back, or at the very least, go visit Jin, which could definitely happen, but I actually don't know how close they are, and I would argue and say that they don't really know each other. There's a reason why dating experts don't recommend 2 people who don't speak the same language to date, because communication is the heart of a relationship. And also friendships, they can have a translator, but how much can you say to a person when there is a third person that you're not trying to be close with that is there? And I'm not saying that they hate each other. I just don't think that they're super close. I think that Chris would be excited to see Jin, but I don't think that they're having a party. Like what a lot of people in the community like to do is have a party when the member's birthday, or if they reach a milestone, and celebrate much like their own accomplishment, which at times it definitely is, especially if it's a streaming record. However, it's a bit much to Chris Martin to do it when he has his own records. This is something that I think the fandom struggles to understand at times, which is that people who work with BTS or are friends with BTS do not have their lives revolve around BTS. Those friends or people have their own lives. And this is something that irks me at times because other celebrities talk about BTS occasionally, but it's not the only thing that they think about. They have their own career. And if you're as busy as someone who's a celebrity would be, you don't really have time to sit there and fangirl about other people. You simply don't. I think Chris Martin would be incredibly happy to have Jin back and maybe even make music with him again, but I don't think he's sitting there waiting for it to happen or going to be in tears when Jin returns, although I definitely will. There's been a lot of controversy with 17 and the exemption that's happening there. Now, I want to specify from what I saw, 17 fans have not attacked BTS fans, but it seems a lot of people within the BTS community are upset with 17, and quite frankly, I understand why, but it's not anyone's fault. So what am I talking about? If you're not aware, apparently 17's Coups recently got an exemption from the military over a bad knee or a knee injury. This was all fine and dandy, except people got upset because Suga had a severe shoulder injury and he still wasn't exempt. He still had to at least do an alternative service. Now, my opinion as to why he had to do that was likely because the government wanted propaganda, but that is a whole other story. However, the fact that one group had an exemption and the other didn't is a problem of the government, not of either group. I'm sure the best case scenario would be if all of them were exempt. Now, people on social media came out and said something that got everyone really upset, where it apparently showed Coups allegedly dancing and performing after his exemption. And this anger was directed at him to say, well, if he had such a bad knee injury that he needed exemption, why is he still up and about? And I don't know what to say to this other than the fact that maybe 17 has better lawyers that fight harder for them. I don't know. The other likelihood that Suga didn't fully get exempt, but Coups did, is probably because Suga and the rest of BTS were getting so much backlash over the enlistment. If they were to not enlist, they would get so much hate. So this is to potentially stop any backlash, and they just decided to enlist. I mean, look at all the K-pop stars who get exempt or don't enlist. The reputation that follows them is always that they hate their country or that they're a bad person, when none of that is ever true. People also think that Jin would be incredibly upset after reading this news or hearing about it because he would have wanted the exemption or the fact that he had to go through it but others didn't. Now, the takeaway that I have to give here is that Jin and the rest of BTS were never upset about enlisting, and they were not looking at other people and what they were doing and comparing themselves to them. They were enlisting for themselves and for their own country. It's one of those things where if you look at another person or another person's yard, their grass is always going to be greener. But if you mind your own business, then you'll be fine and usually not envious or angry. And that is exactly what BTS has been doing. And let's be honest here. It's not like BTS hasn't received any perks. They have one of the most successful careers ever and probably still will. They've made the most amount of money and are loved by millions. They have a community that can never be replicated, and you can trade everything else that everyone else has and still not get anything that comes close to what BTS has. So they've won the lottery. I don't think they sit there and compare, and thus I think people like Jin would be very happy due to them not comparing. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks, just leave a comment right here. Love you. Bye.